Ira is an expert in Japan's business world, an entrepreneur and founder of the consulting company Motioning Network, which specializes in establishing business relationships with Japanese investors and distributors. The company also served as the Israeli investment arm of the biomed company TERUMO with a market cap of $25 billion. Throughout his career, Ira has held senior positions in leading companies in Israel and took a significant part in two exits, the last of which was the sale of Itamar Medical for $539 million, in which he served as a president of Japan and a member of the management. Ira is also a board member of the Israeli-Japan Chamber of Commerce. He's a graduate of the research program at the University of Tokyo and a graduate of the Hebrew University in East Asian Studies, Japan track. Ira, we are very curious to hear from you about the great interest Japan's business market shows in Femtech.
Sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I know I'm the last, but I'll try to keep it brief and to leave time for questions. So first of all, Ronel and Michal, thanks a lot for this opportunity. I'm really, really happy to be here, and I'm happy with this opportunity to share Japan's Femtech market potential for the audience. I'll skip that because Michal already shared that. I just want to say that my entire career was in the medical industry from various companies, and I was happy to serve as a leader in two companies that exit themselves, and where in all the cases, Japan was always a major market for us and a strategic partnership that built our ability to go global. So I recommend that. So in order to, we discussed a lot about economic power, but let me put it in numbers. So Japan in the last 3 decades was the third largest economy after USA and China. This year it dropped to the fourth place. I think that this is, maybe I'm biased, but I think that this is mainly because of the yen-dollar exchange rate, but still Japan is the second largest medical market in the world. Now, in order to understand, I know that we are not all economists, so in order to understand what does it mean superpower or economic power, we will share this map. This map is representing the various regions in Japan, and if our idea was to compare a region, a Japanese region, to an entire country's economy. So I want to turn your attention to 2 places. One is the red spot, Kanto, which is the area around Tokyo. And as you can see, this area alone is in the size of the magnitude of economic power of the entire Italian economy. And if you turn to the blue side, which is Kansai region, surrounding Osaka, you can see that it's larger than Switzerland itself. Now, economic power is not the only decision making of choosing your next strategic market. Actually, I would say that we need to we need to evaluate other factors. For example, the United States is the largest market in the world, definitely, no doubt about it. However, it's filled with competition. And when we are speaking about healthcare, the different regions, the different area, the different states, they all have different reimbursement codes. We have a lot of players from the government, distributors, insurance companies, and so forth. So this makes the United States a complex market, even though for Israelis, we don't feel that there is a language barrier or a cultural barrier. Now, China is always coming to the attention. Of course, it's a huge market with a very strong buying power, but China is a very difficult market to manage, especially from overseas, and also to activate local teams. Trust me, I have 20 years experience in doing so. It could be very rewarding market, but it's also very risky market. Now, for Israelis, the European market was before a little bit, a few years ago, it was the European Union. It was a very close and accessible market for us. However, the MDR new regulations actually diverse the whole market. So each country is acting by itself. So from the European Union, it became a segmented market. Now the effort of going into all these markets altogether is equivalent to going into Japan. Now, why the Femtech in Japan is a national challenge? Well, it's coming from a social and cultural point of view, to my understanding, and definitely you can see on the news. We didn't have so much time, but you can see on a weekly basis there are a lot of publications that are talking about the negative birth rate and the continuous trend of this problem, and actually Japan is about to disappear if we continue like that. Now, Japan is a very modern country. Japanese are very accessible to high technology. However, it's also quite traditional when we are speaking on a cultural and social basis. And it's expected of the woman after giving birth to leave her career and take care of the children, the household, usually the elderly parents, while the men usually work until retirement. So he's the person that should bring the money home. And this means or creates a very difficult dilemma for women. They need to choose between their personal career or their wish to become mothers. And actually, Japanese ladies are voting probably with their activity or their behavior. And you can see on the left side of the screen the tremendous trend of children per family. Actually, this is not the most updated slide, but actually the trend is very negative. We have a negative birth rate, which means that as a direct impact, the elderly population is growing dramatically quick, especially when Japanese have one of the highest life expectancy in the world. You can find almost 30% of the population are over 65 years old. This is, if you calculated that, 30 million people, and actually because in Japan, the government is the sole payer. There are no insurance companies in between the citizens and the government. The growth of the elderly population is creating a very big, it's very heavy on the economy. So the government has now changed its priorities and investing a lot of money, a lot of resources in finding technologies that can reverse the graph and increase birth rate, but also working socially to try to educate the market. Now, the average marriage age is 28 and the first pregnancy 31, and it's still on a rise. So this is something that the Japanese government has to solve. Now, what are we talking about? What kind of technology? So my colleague from India actually brought the very nice numbers to the table. I would say that Japan is significantly big. This is a $5 billion market with a 7% growth year over year, and we anticipate that the year over year growth will just rise. Now, when you are coming from the Femtech business, you understand that the annual number of IVF procedure is a market indicator for the potential in each country. Now you see that in Japan, we have 450 IVF procedure per year with 123 million people, while in the United States, we have 300 with 340 million people. So Japan is 1/3 of the size of the United States and has, let's say it's a sixfold. Now, when we are speaking of what kind of technologies are interesting for the Japanese market, we actually see the full spectrum from fertility to pregnancy to the monthly menstruation and pain related, of course, to the menopause. We discussed the high population and the elderly population as well. All are very, very in high demand. Now, moving to what we say in Hebrew, tachlis, how to do business in Japan. Let me remind you that Japan is a very old society and very traditional, and to do business in Japan, you need to know it the Japanese way. In most cases, we're talking about 100-plus-year-old companies. Michal mentioned that we are the sole scouters and the deal flow managers of TERUMO in Israel. Now, TERUMO Corporation is 103 years old. It's not a baby, but it's quite a significant company. And in Japan, there are the trading houses or the trading companies, the Sogo Shosha. They are much, much, much older. So this means that the Japanese companies have their own structure, their own decision-making process, and you cannot come with the Israeli way and teach them how to do things. You need to really understand this market. What does it mean? I want to give you two examples. One, in the West, the CEO decides the strategy, what to do, who is doing what. Tomorrow changes his mind, going left and then going right, and this is really something very common. In Japan, the professional teams are your best friends. I mean, the R&D guys, sales, marketing, regulatory, quality, you need to convince them, and they will recommend it to their managers. Now, I know that there are a lot of complaints that why Japanese are taking so long, why they are not reacting so quickly, why we are sending the answers and they are coming back with the same questions. You need to understand how it works from the other side of the world. Japanese decide in consensus. They decide as a group and they give or they show the recommendation to their management, and the management then comes back to them. It could be an ongoing cycle. So you really need to be very professional and not jump to talk to the CEO. The CEO will just show you the elevator and tell you to start from the square one. Now, in principles, I would like you to take into consideration that the Japanese will take a decision based on your innovativity, of course, the quality of your product or technology, the safety. Japanese are very, very concerned with safety. On a personal level, I would say honesty and punctuality are the two key elements. Honesty, be honest with your business. Don't need to show around or to exaggerate. Just be very honest with what you're doing. And punctuality means everything. Be accurate on timelines, on milestones, on your promises. Don't overpromise if you cannot. Now, I can talk about it for 2 weeks, so I'm moving quite fast forward. From my experience, the key success factors of doing business in Japan are 3. First of all, learn the market. You will find competitors in Japan that you don't know exist, and they are active in Japan. The reimbursement system is totally different from the United States. Usually it's much, much lower. From our life in Itamar, I can tell you that the home sleep testing test costs in the United States $240 and in Japan $50. How do you build your business model in such a gap? And then decide also what would be the course of registration of the PMDA approval. This is a Japanese FDA. So this is doing your homework. This is number 1. Number 2, change your strategic plan according to what you learn. Maybe you need to change the product itself. We did it in Itamar as well, and in light instrument as well. I mean, Synon Dental. Pricing model could be different, and regulatory registration and so forth. And last but not least, you need to know which partner to tie with. Israelis are usually tending to sign an agreement with the first or second company they saw in a conference or somewhere else. This is not the right way. You need to find someone that understands specifically your market, understands specifically your abilities, and also has the right network and connection to take you forward. So, yes, we have a lot of experience doing business in Japan. This is my oldest distributor. We are still friends, and he's my best mentor. And whenever I'm coming to Japan, I meet him. Not every time for such a dinner, but definitely yes. So what do we do as Network in Motion? We are a consulting firm. We help you map your market in Japan and create your strategic planning. Then we help you define what kind of partners and what kind of partnerships you can tie up with. Of course, we help you find the right partners, help you negotiate, help you do the deal flow and due diligence. Japanese are very thorough in what they are doing. And in most cases, we consult or escort the companies in the first years to see that everything is moving forward, and they of course can come to us from time to time whenever there is a problem. And Israelis, we know how to invent problems. We don't have a problem with that. So I would like to wish all of you that Japan will become your #1 strategic market. I'm sure that you will enjoy working in Japan. Japanese are very, they think long term. They are great partners. They pay on time. Trust me, you need to close the quarter. They also think long term, so you can plan ahead with them. They understand your technology, they understand your market. So this is not just a partnership, but it's also something that is related to someone that can really help you. And they are also very loyal. So when you're in trouble, and we know what medical market looks like, they will not leave you, like few other countries I don't want to mention. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us by email, by LinkedIn, whatever you want. Thank you so much.